How is it that you pay for long-term care without losing everything? For anyone turning 65 today, there is a 70% chance that you're going to need long-term care at some time in your life. That could be in-home assistance, assisted living, or possibly full-time nursing care. But the really big question is how are you going to pay for it without draining all of your assets? I'm Valerie Zammitti of Zammitti Law. We're an estate planning practice in New York and New Jersey. We provide peace of mind to families through our high client value services. If you are in need of assistance with either preparing your estate and everyone over 18 needs one, by the way, or you need help administering a will or a trust following the loss of a loved one, we can help. You can reach out to us for a free consultation at yourplanningattorney.com. And of course, as you know, we are always here to educate everyone as often as we can. So please ask questions and don't forget to share so we can help some folks together along the way. Now, every family is going to face these issues of long-term care at some point. Some obviously earlier than others, but there are three, with a caveat of a fourth, way to go ahead and pay for this care. One, you can say, I'm paying out of pocket, don't care what it costs, I want the top of everything. If nothing goes on to my beneficiaries, it's all good. I want to take care of me. And that's a perfectly good response. Paying directly, though, has some thoughts to it, i.e. the cost, right? Average costs here in the Northeast can run upwards of $15,000 a month for nursing care. You heard that right, $15,000 a month. That's $180,000 a year. And with an average of 2.5 years or so of care needs, $500,000 can be depleted like that. Now, this gets even more expensive and risky in the minds of a family overall if both spouses, if there are a married couple, both eventually need care. Now, there is the opportunity, if you catch it early enough, to implement long-term care insurance. Now, it is a more proactive solution, and there are different ways in which you can implement this insurance. There are still standalone policies, although I think less providers offer it. And then there's also many folks now have it as a rider to a, say, whole life insurance policy. It is possible that the premiums can rise based on, age and health conditions. So the sooner you get it, the better. And the best time to apply is at the earliest point, as long as it's not hindering your own cash flow for regular living needs. I find the sweet spot is probably in the mid 50s if it's going to work for you. You're still healthy, you have some good cash flow, and your eligibility will be just fine. Of course, if you can afford it in your 40s or prior, do it. This can cover not only nursing home assisted living, but also in-home care if it's set up correctly. And it will help preserve whatever assets you do build over a lifetime and give some flexibility as to what your care options are. Now, a second type of insurance, it's not insurance at all, but a way of insulating your care is via private pay, so to speak, outside of the insurance, is doing a lump sum payment to what I call a step-up community, where you go in independently and then they offer services over time as you age and have more needs. In my mind, it's like paying for insurance in a lump sum because you have this community that you're comfortable going into. You're entering independently, but they offer the skills that are necessary to maybe care for you into your later years. Lastly, there is Medicaid benefits, right? Government assistance. Medicaid does come with a bunch of caveats where they expect you to have very negligible, countable assets. And that could look as if you are either spending down those assets or transitioning them out of your control. And Medicaid, while your eligibility is not impacted by owning your home, and they're not going to take your home upon applying, you should note that they can place a lien against your home to recover after your passing, with a few exceptions. But Medicaid, again, will require that you either spend down your assets or have proven over a period of time that the certain assets are no longer in your control and cannot be utilized as accountable for Medicaid eligibility purposes. Now, how would you do that? For instance, many of our clients will set up an asset protection trust to transition their home. For us, we require that they be paid off into this type of trust with someone else as the trustee to start the look back period for Medicaid. I'm not going to go into what the look back is because it does vary for nursing home or in home depending on your state. But it will start that look back period, and once you've surpassed that period, it is exempt. That asset is exempt from any recovery through Medicaid whatsoever. Now, it is important to do your best to talk with your family about quote unquote crisis planning as early as possible. It may not be the most comfortable conversation, but it is something that the sooner you address it, have some sense of order about it, some decisions as to what might be the best methods to care for someone, where and how, it will help smooth that process when it is urgent, because you will have already discussed it. In fact, we give our clients sort of a conversation guide called When the Poop Hits the Fan plan, because we want that, we want to encourage that conversation to happen before crisis hits. And even if care is needed immediately, right, say after a fall or serious illness, know that you can turn to, estate planning, elder law attorney to help you protect part of the assets, perhaps at that stage as well. It really depends on the state law and what availability they have from the Medicaid perspective, but it is possible, and so having a conversation is important. Of course, the earlier you plan, the more of your estate you're going to preserve. So whether you're talking about insurance, trust, or other planning tools, there are ways to insulate your family if that's your goal. Talk to an attorney before crisis hits. And here at Zammitti Law, of course, we are attempting to secure your future and do our best to keep your assets where they belong, which presumably is with your loved ones, if that is your goal. Again, Val Zammitti of Zammitti Law. If you need help with estate planning or the administration following the loss of a loved one here in New York or New Jersey, we'd be happy to help. And you can reach us for a free consultation at yourplanningattorney.com. We hope you've learned something new here today. Don't forget to share and take care. Bye-bye.